people think of sports as a simple activity, but there are actually countless things going through people's brains that aren't always visibly seen in athletics. Numerous studies now are focusing on how mental toughness affects athletes' performance and even daily life. A study in 2021, conducted by researcher Panyan, shows that mental toughness is strongly correlated with sports performance. The main sport I play is tennis, which is more personal and doesn't require teammates. I've been playing tennis since second grade, and I've joined multiple tournaments. Each time, most of the things I learned were mental. In one of my tournaments, I was physically better than my opponent. My pressure to play well affected my mental state, which made my performance worse. Throughout most tournaments, my mentality is mostly unstable. I might get angry really fast because of a mishit, or I might get overconfident, resulting in me losing the point or hitting a bad shot. This is part of mental toughness. Controlling your mind is what is most important when you're becoming a better athlete. While I win matches or do well during tournaments, I'm not always physically the best, but my mind is usually relaxed. This led me into thinking, what is the relationship between mental toughness, or mental health, and how athletes perform in sports? Mental toughness is similar to mental state and also affects the attitude of athletes. Panyan explains that a good mental state can be described as the ability to handle pressure or stress while overcoming failures. Many professional athletes have a psychotherapist to help and train their psychological skills or mental skills, says Sarah Jackson, psychotherapist. Dr. Paul Lubbers, a professional in exercise and sports science, writes, mental skill techniques help athletes adjust their actions, thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations in order to improve their games. Usually, better athletes have better mentality compared to athletes who are lower in skill, writes Lee Crust, a professional in sports, health, and exercise science. Dr. Chris Stankovic, a professional in the field of sports psychology, concluded that sports are sometimes over 90% mental. Many known athletes are all around the same level physically, so they're actually competing mentally more than physically. According to the Kentucky Counseling Center, when athletes lose concentration, which is part of their mental state, they can lose the game or even worse, get injured. The Kentucky Counseling Center's article author explains that some people are also more vulnerable to mental issues like student athletes. Most athletes all have the desire to stay physically fit. Some athletes even develop eating disorders due to pressure, which students handle less well than professional athletes. When they're physically unwell, this affects the mental state, which affects how they perform physically. It keeps on going in a cycle. Based on the Kentucky Counseling Center, professional athletes are also commonly vulnerable to mental issues too. Doing well in athletics is important to athletes, and if they underperform in the tournament, it may cause large amounts of stress, which can later result in mental issues. According to Marcus Gerber's research in 2018, if an athlete has mental issues, it's also going to affect their mental toughness and their sports performance. Usually better athletes who have better mental toughness have less mental issues, and vice versa is true, writes Gerber. A study done by Susanna Russell from PubMed in 2019 explains that the reason why mental toughness is connected to sports is because of cognitive performance. Cognitive performance controls many functions of our physical actions. When people are mentally fatigued, it means that they're in a state of worsened cognitive performance. When people's cognitive performance weakens, it may result in different performance in the physical game. Some might argue that sports performance is completely linked to physical skills and not on the mental side. When someone thinks that they're doing well in a match or game because of their physical side of sports, it's actually because their mental side of the game is in good condition. All of our actions in life are controlled by cognitive skills. How or why we do things are dependent on cognitive performance. Using strategies to improve our mental health can significantly help us in sports. Throughout this research, I learned that maybe I don't have to be the best in sports physically, but controlling my mentality is more important. This is how mental affects sports performance. Next time, try building awareness of your mentality to see what you can achieve. Thank you.